Hello, Matthew Grant here, your host and partner at Insurtech London. Did you see our podcast leaderboard this week? Some great new entries racing up the rankings and a bit of a shake-up over the last quarter. But if you're a regular listener, then thanks for listening into so many episodes. And of course, if you don't know us that well, then please do take a look at the back catalogue. There is something for everyone from the last 2 years. Now, if you've been following the news of insurance IPOs this week, this is most definitely a good time to be talking about marketing. Lemonade launched at $29 last week and by early this week was at over $80. Now, whether you think that's completely wacky or a great day for Insurtech, at least I'm sure you'll agree that it's refreshing to have something new to talk about other than Brexit, pandemic, or US politics. It's fitting, therefore, that this week's guest has deep experience in marketing and has brought her skills to insurance. Lianne Trantz is VP of Marketing at technology platform Novidea. She left the world of advertising to help Novidea spread the word, and I've got to know Lianne well over the last couple of years. So I wanted to find out, what can insurance learn about marketing from other industries? Now, I'm sure most of you won't have a budget of $100 million to spend, but if you do, please do let us know. Like Lemonade, but whatever your stage, role, or source of funds, I'm sure you'll find something useful here. Well, Lianne, it's wonderful to have you on the podcast. You are a Novidea, a big supporter of Insurtech London, and we really appreciate that. But I thought it'd be interesting both to learn a little bit more about Novidea, but also particularly just given your role as VP of Marketing and having come into insurance, but also worked at PwC. And I see you also started your career as a programmer. Just learn a little bit about how you think about marketing when you're marketing to insurance companies. So welcome to the Insurtech London podcast.
Thanks, Matthew. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me. So I think firstly a little bit really about Novidea. Novidea is really about changing the way people work. We're a global broker management platform. A typical broker today uses a system of record, like a place to key in information and generate invoices, make renewals. So Novidea developed an end-to-end broker platform, all built on the cloud, on Salesforce. And we basically give brokers and MGAs a single place to do their business.
Now, you launched the broker platform in 2013. So you sort of arrived just at the beginning of this whole Insurtech concept. I mean, how do you think of that when you think about what you're offering with Novidea?
Yeah, we've spoken about this quite a bit, in fact. I think you can actually look at it in two ways. I think on the one hand, the answer is yes. We are an Insurtech. I mean, if you look at the positive connotations of an Insurtech company, I think brings to mind innovation and game-changing, agile. Those are some of the words I think about. On the other hand, Insurtech also has negative connotations associated with it. So, the startup, the lot of risk, here today, gone tomorrow, not a proven solution. So in my mind, Novidea is not a startup, or maybe we can say we are a startup that didn't just start up. We have big technology. We built on Salesforce. We're actually a major player. We have 90 customers in 20 countries and a list of notable global brokers like Hyperion. And we have 7 years of proven experience. So I would say that we have the innovation and pace of an Insurtech, but on the other hand, we have the stability and proven capability of a major player in the insurance industry.
Yeah, certainly a lot to be said, particularly these times, for having real clients and real revenue, and also, of course, that global coverage, because although the company is based in Israel, you've got a pretty strong presence in the UK and the US and also the rest of the world, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we started, the relationship, for example, with Hyperion started early on in Israel, but have continued to grow across EMEA and APAC over the last 7 years. Today, I think we have Hyperion implemented Novidea in 16 countries, and we recently added another 3 European countries to the list in the last month. Having them as a testimonial to how we've changed their business, really makes it easy for me when it comes to marketing. Also, we recently signed a deal with SRG, Miles Smith in London, and we're just kicking off a big project with a large broker that's in 3 different countries. So yes, our pipeline looks great.
Oh, well, it's excellent. Well, it's a good link into the question about from your own personal point of view. I mean, it's always interesting knowing what brought people into insurance, particularly people who've done some pretty interesting careers outside of it. So, if you personally, what made you make the switch, or what gave you the sort of motivation to get involved in an insurance company? When I assume you could have had choices of all sorts of different things to go and apply your marketing skills to.
So I never really planned to go into insurance, but I was introduced to Novidea after coming out of Adtech for 8 years, which was very fast, dynamic, new industry. We did global rebrands. We built up a great thought leadership segment. We were doing loads of benchmarking and research papers and things like that, and really having to push the envelope because my prospects and customers were creative agencies and media agencies. So all these crazy young people with colored hair and piercings. It wasn't just about doing the same old, and really having to think outside of the box and push the envelope. So it was very exciting, very cool, very sexy. And then suddenly, I came into this insurance industry as an opportunity and saw where had it been for the last, 30, 40 years, how not much has really changed in all that time. But on the brink of going through a major, transformation and disintermediation on the B2C side. So for me, it seemed like a perfect opportunity to take this and bring my learnings to an industry that's really steeped so much in the past with not much innovation, and breathing life, I suppose, into a little bit of a stagnant industry.
Yeah, I mean, the state of the art for insurance marketing is somewhat limited. I don't know if you get these over in Israel, but in the UK, the sort of high points seem to be meerkats and opera singers. So I think there's lots of scope, particularly to start looking into more technology companies marketing or some of the different types of insurance companies. So are there any examples of where you've brought over some ideas from Adtech that you're starting to apply to the marketing you're doing for Novidea?
Well, there's some of it that's pre-COVID and then post-COVID. And, up until 2 months ago, and a lot in the UK was all around personal relationships and networks. And, so when I came on and started realizing that everyone knows everyone, and just being able to leverage, the subject matter experts and the networks that were already out there that existed, like Insurtech London, for example. But then being able to bring real life examples from customers. It was all in the old days, the traditional outbound, the printing, a product sheet, a case study, a research note. And I think now what we're doing more and more is really to bring the visual side into it and break through into what we see digital marketing and the world of automation, much more engagement with the right content to the right people at the right time. And we've been running what's now a whole new marketing ball game, account-based marketing. So, taking LinkedIn ads, for example, and being able to target specific individuals in specific companies with profiles, and then taking them through a very robust cross-channel journey, where you're using social, you're using your blogs, you're using your emails, you're generating, your leads, but through a very consistent messaging. Before COVID, we were doing these VIP briefings that we did at some unique venues with which you actually attended, like the sellers of the Berry Brothers and the Victorian Bathhouse. So that was more coming back to, the thought leadership part of bringing insurance executives and influencers or prospects and customers together in some evening of food and wine. But then again, it's an excellent way to build this network because we were new in the market, we were unknown. So it really gives us the credibility that we needed as a newcomer to establish ourselves.
And you've always done really quality events and material. I think that's one of the important things this area for anybody is making sure these kind of things are done. You've chosen some very good venues. You've got some very good guests. That makes a big difference in this space because it is quite competitive. Also, I'm interested in this account-based marketing, and presumably you're kind of looking at all different ways you can reach out to people, whether it's through the live events, through what we do together, or things like the LinkedIn adverts or thought leadership. I mean, that you have different ways of engaging with individuals, and I assume you find different people want to engage with you in a different way, and you just need to create that connection with your team and your sales team, and then they can follow up to build the relationship.
Absolutely. Podcast is a very new one for me. The webinars we've done, I've done that in my past life and at Novidea, and LinkedIn is also driving a lot of the leads and interest and engagement. It's all built on what they call intent. You can start measuring people that are actually in the middle of a funnel, where they're ready within that buying process and they're out there searching, and you can catch them at that time and start nurturing them, to drive them through the decision-making process. And with LinkedIn or personalized targeted ads, you have a better chance of finding the right people. So, this integrated marketing element is becoming more and more significant within, this whole area of marketing, which is so much offline, online, still based in the traditional outbound stuff, but a lot more of the inbound is showing the results that we need. I mean, we ran a campaign in the US within 3 weeks, and we didn't give much information. We had something like 80 leads. People wanted more. They wanted more information. They want to know. There's definitely a hunger out there for new, innovative solutions. People know that they need to change. They know that they need new technology. They know that the technology is out there, and they don't always know where to get it. So, instead of the old spray and pray tactics, just get something out there. I really believe, and I work very closely with the sales team to understand who our customers are, what they're looking for, what the message is, and then we produce our deliverables based on this.
Yeah, that intent one is very interesting. I mean, some of the recent research has shown that when people actually contact a technology company, or it could be other solutions they're looking for, about 60% of the cases they already know what they're looking for, so they got questions they need to get answered. And I think the challenge for an organization like yourself is even the best salesperson in the world is not going to convince someone to go and change their system just because they make a good sales pitch. You've got to find people when they're looking, and then encourage them to spend more time with you. And as you say, to build up on that relationship. It's also interesting. I mean, on that point about identifying people that are looking, can you track through things like LinkedIn or how else do you know if someone's actually out there actively looking to make a purchase? Other than obviously if you're actually talking to them directly and you find that way. But what you're saying, it sounds like there are other ways of identifying who might be in the market for new technology.
So there's incredible technology today. Some really impressive US companies that are doing, they're doing part of what I suppose you can call the ABM tech stack. You have a company that we were using called Everstring. It works really well in the US because you're actually able to identify your TAM, your total addressable market. And then within that, you've got all the contacts within each of these companies built according to your ideal customer profile. So, whoever you are, you may be a broker, you can build an ideal customer profile, you can set up your TAM, set up your campaigns, and then automatically using something like we use HubSpot as a digital automating tool. But there are others, and together, even with Novidea's platform, you can integrate very easily with these technology pieces through LinkedIn, through sales emails, through your email marketing. And what you do is you basically go out and you find these people using LinkedIn or Google Ads, using your search, your SEO, and that way you're finding people that are already in the process because it's measuring based on what they call topics. You can see what they're searching for. And it's incredible. It's quite scary, actually. Very big brother stuff, but it works because, as I said, we got many leads of people that it were quality leads. The sales team were not spending a lot of time having to sort through, all the riffraff of saying, oh, that's not relevant, because we found the people who were already in that process. As you say, they were 50% down, the buying decision process. They already kind of knew what they wanted based on what they call fit model, intent scores. It's amazing.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Everstring is a company you use, and it sounds like when you're talking there, is that something that also your clients, can use as part of using Novidea? So if you're helping brokers find their own clients, do you advise them, or do you have the technology that links into tools like Everstring or HubSpot to be able to help them get people when they're at
Yes.
their point of intent? Yes.
Yes, not Everstring, because I think, first of all, the insurance industry is not there yet. We're integrating at the moment with, a lot of the SMS, text messaging, e-payments, chatbots. We have a customer that's using chatbots for all their renewals. Recently we saw they were sending out messages, and through the chatbot, they got back, I think it was something like 55% of the renewals were done automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So, the world of insurance is going digital and it's automated. So Novidea, automates all the processes and your front office to your back office and everything, from A to Z. But then again, you can start using this ecosystem of Salesforce and the apps very easily to integrate into the platform and be able to create, you know, pieces that you weren't able to do before. You'd have to go to your vendor and ask them to add this in, or you want to integrate with this new tool that's out on the market, and say, yes, we do that. And 18 months later, you may get your integration done. So with us, built on Salesforce on the cloud, it gives us the ability to integrate very easily with text messaging, e-payments, digital signature. It's a new world out there.
And also with your clients, certainly people like companies like Howden and Hyperion, part of the same group, who have grown quite quickly over the last few years. They themselves are quite innovative. I imagine quite a number of your clients both like working with you because they're thinking ahead, looking for the new thing to do, but also they can explore some new ideas with you and test out some concepts and sort of move more quickly in terms of how they engage with or identify new clients. And also, just given the scale of the relationships you've got, it sounds like you're sort of linking up their own people across the world as well. So it's less about sort of individual office by office or location by location, but you're looking at a much more integrated approach across the business.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's one of our, our big advantages, is that we are truly a global platform. I think the advantage there for Novidea is very much that we are, a truly global platform.
And that platform play as well. I mean, you're sort of platform on a platform, and it's interesting. Some of this is visible, some of it we see it, but it's less directly visible yet. But there's most certainly a sort of race going on just now for technology companies, some that have been in insurance, some that have come outside of insurance and looking at coming into insurance, who are clearly wanting to own a big area of that platform play. And Salesforce clearly has got a very large presence across lots of different industries and have now started to double down with financial force and some things they're doing in insurance. Lianne, you mentioned LinkedIn and also just reaching out to people. I mean, LinkedIn seems to be dominant in many areas, but not at the same time, not every, particularly in the broker world, but also I think in technology world, not everybody wants to use LinkedIn. So what else do you see out there as the sort of main alternatives or similar ways where you've got communities engaging together that you can tap into?
It goes back to relationships. We started off, we went into the UK, identify what those big events are, the Biebers, you have your website, but it's all about the personal relationships and finding the right people, the experts, as I said, to work with. I mean, working with Insurtech London. Recently, we just started working with a new PR agency. Their focus is purely insurance. A year ago, I didn't know they were around. Next Gen Comms, met you referred me to them. So it just becomes the whole, all around connecting the dots, So when you do that and people start talking and they start understanding who you are, it just makes it a whole lot easier. And I think that's the big thing in the UK for me, has just been understanding who the influencers are, because you can do your social and your blogs, your LinkedIn, And it builds up slowly. It does. But for us, up until now, the events were a big part of it. And I think even more so was this network. For us, it's working really well is LinkedIn. Blogs, not so much. And I think now, actually, people are finding the time to listen in on podcasts. I think again, it comes back to this whole integrated marketing of creating a path between all your marketing channels, that they all work together. One feeds into the other. Not everyone's there yet, but it doesn't all work. There is a lot of trial and error, but the mindset is changing for sure.
Lianne, we've been delighted to have Novidea supporting Insurtech London as one of our gold members. Be helpful just to sort of hear directly from you, what was the motivation for that and what have you found useful?
I think really it was the fact that when I was introduced to you and Robin and Paolo, it was really the passion and enthusiasm maybe that you shared with me, and this vision of being instrumental in making a change in the industry. So I think you're coming at it from a place where most other organizations will do more of the same. You've created a brand, for me anyway, that it works. The company, the communities that you've grown, and you've got this really loyal following with an extremely impressive network of people. I think they'd look to you for a fresh aspect on what can be done and what should be done. So, you're really bringing together mature and new insurtechs, the technology side, innovation leaders across the market like Google and other influencers. So you really are driving all these connections. So for me, it was a no-brainer to align myself with you. And I think also coming fresh out of Adtech, where things were cool and sexy, you and I quickly found a common or like-minded belief that insurance may be boring, but it can actually be fun. And I think you guys are doing a great job. I work with you as a partner. I see Insurtech London as a partner, where you're bringing a lot of value to Novidea, to the ecosystem and the industry, far more than what I see as kind of a contractual relationship. I feel like you're part of the team. That's really where I was happy to piggyback and join the Insurtech London community as a champion, really.
Well, thank you for your support, and I've also enjoyed learning from you. I don't think you've managed to bring the piercings and coloured hair to insurance that you saw in Adtech, but maybe that's part of your next measure of success. If you can either attract the people from other communities to come into insurance who've already got the piercings and the coloured hair, or you can shake up an insurance. But I think
I'm trying. I have to do it step by step, right? I can't just do it overnight. Otherwise, I think I'll overstep the mark somehow.
We'll see how we get on. Fantastic. And then what else should we be looking out for that's happening with Novidea? We've got a live chat event that we're doing with you coming up soon. So really looking forward to that, and that'll be available for people to sign up through Bright Talk or download afterwards. We're getting some really good, you're talking about different channels actually, that we're getting some really good people coming into that from a whole different area than our traditional network, plus a lot of people from insurance. But also you've got a video series coming up as well, don't you, in the next few months?
We did a video series on very much thought leadership again, but I think there's some great material in there for brokers, all around the Lloyd's Blueprint one. We've got a great case study that we've just put into production. That's going to be a good one, where we saw some of the results, quantitative results, producing policies from an hour to 15 seconds and cutting reporting down from 2 weeks to 30 minutes. And I'm just trying to keep all the time thinking, what more can we do? Got lots of ideas, not enough time in the day to do them all, but, we'll keep going. And at some point we'll get to meet each other again, eye to eye.
Lianne, it's been tremendous. And just on that last point, congratulations with the case studies, because those are always so useful. I know how difficult they are to get done with all the approvals. But but
You've got
nothing.
to grab onto them as they come and get the approvals, and it's like, okay, I can do this. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, nothing quite like those for making it real. Good. Well, listen, I'll let you get back on with all the things you've got going on, and as you say, look forward to seeing you face to face at some point in the not too distant future. Many thanks.
Appreciate it, Matthew. Thank you so much.
I do recommend taking a look at the Novidea website. And of course, we are very grateful to them as gold sponsors of Insurtech London. Without that kind of support, it would be very hard to bring you our weekly interviews. We'll put links to the companies mentioned in the episode notes, and for a written summary of our discussion to remind you of the key topics or to share with others, plus access to all our other great content and what we're up to, then head over to www.insurtech.london.